So my name is Reeta Wolfsohn, and I'm so glad to have so many people joining us today. We do have a record registration, and I think that this is a great webinar for those of you who are new to financial social work and to all of you who attend our monthly free webinar on a regular basis. So your invitation indicated that I would be sharing with you 5 Surefire client engagement strategies for financial behavioral change. But as often happens, I will select a topic for the monthly free webinar, and then it takes on a life of its own. And that was very much the case with today's webinar. So I actually have more like 10 Surefire engagement strategies that I will be sharing with you today. So it's a lot to cover, and I will get started. So we will begin with a brief overview of financial social work for all of those new to these webinars. Then we'll examine the challenges of engaging clients on all levels and to all types of programs. And then we'll look at rethinking the client engagement paradigm. I will then share the 10 Surefire client engagement strategies, and I've included 12 bonus tips for helping clients to be more successful money managers. We will answer all of your questions at the end of the session, but you can feel free to submit them as I go along so that you don't forget the questions you wanted to ask, and I will take them in the order they come in. At its core, financial social work is about personal, professional, financial, and social change. It is very much based in traditional financial social work philosophy and ethics. It is about creating equity, social justice, following the way that allowing people to have more dignity, to have the tools and the skills to create financial behavioral change. Taking greater responsibility for your financial future requires more than just learning new financial skills. That's where financial social work differs from more traditional financial literacy and education, because we know that while you will see our model in a moment, but while obviously education, information, knowledge, and skills are very important, it's really, there's much more required to really create sustainable long-term financial behavioral change, which is, of course, our mission. It is a process. It is an ongoing process. And financial stability is a very personal, individual, and emotional choice. As with many choices in our lives, we make it on a daily, we need to make it on a daily, weekly, monthly, sometimes minute to minute, hour to hour basis. And as we know, life is all about the choices we make. And so my work is about facilitating that choice to take greater responsibility for creating a better personal and financial future through the model of ongoing education, motivation, and support. People always need motivation and support in order to sustain change, along with those financial skills and tools that I just mentioned. So for me, financial social work is about hope as much as help. It's very much success driven. It's about, and we will be talking about boundaries today. It's about increase and expanded self-awareness as much as financial knowledge and awareness. And most of all, this is, those of you who join us regularly have probably seen this particular graphic in the center, because I just love the idea that this is someone who is at peace and centered with her money. So bottom line, what's it all about? Financial social work is about your relationship with your money and how it drives your financial behavior and ultimately not only contributes to but determines your financial circumstances. That's really at the core of sustainable long-term change, and particularly sustainable long-term financial behavioral change. My work strives to change the conversation about money, to provide a different way of thinking about money, a better way of working with clients around money problems and issues. And so just briefly, for those of you new to the platform, I wanted you to know that in that upper right-hand corner, you will see this little box where you can determine whether you're using your telephone or a mic and speakers. You are able to type questions into the question box, and I will take those a little later on. And you can also minimize the toolbar by clicking on the two arrows right here. And that will take it out of the way for you. I will make this session as interactive as possible by including you in several polls. I think it's great when we can learn from each other and see how others on the session or on the webinar are thinking about what they're learning also. So engaging clients in financial behavioral change. That's the subject. So who needs engaged? I know that many of you work, if not most of you work in organizations and agencies that do asset building and financial literacy and education. There's a broad range, though, of men and women in this country today, partially because of the economy, but we all know that in all economic times, there are always people who need, help with their money. We wouldn't have the current economic conditions we do if we did more in our schools teaching more about money. But that's a topic for another day. So let's take a look at what are the economic conditions and who are the people who could use all of this engagement and these programs that we're talking about. So we have Americans with more than $1 trillion in student loans. It's a serious, serious problem. Most of you on the call probably know that in 2010, student loans and debts surpassed credit card debt, and that remains true to this day. I had a young woman, well, she was in graduate school, so of course, everyone is younger than I am these days. So I had a woman call me yesterday to tell me that she was taking a master's degree and wanted to take another master's degree because it seemed to her that people with more than one master's degree were more successful. And I asked her how much she had in student debt for this first master's degree that she's completing in November. And she told me a little over $60,000. And I asked her, well, I won't go into all of the details because that's not what this webinar is about. But the idea of being able, she said she wanted to be successful. She wanted to do something important to change the world. And I spent some time with her trying to explain from my perspective how it would be more difficult to do that, burdened with between $60,000 and $100-some thousand in student loans. We have many young people having to delay getting a first apartment, a first car. We even have couples who are unable to marry because of their debt. So we have $870 billion in credit card debt today. We have over 11 million American borrowers who are underwater on their mortgages. It doesn't paint a very pretty picture. The number of people living in poverty continues to increase as the availability of services, unfortunately, continues to decline. Bankruptcy has exploded. The most recent numbers that I could find went through 2010, but it was an increase from 2009 to 2010 of 9%. And from what I could find in preparing this yesterday, it is anticipated that bankruptcies increased in 2011 also, and I believe they will increase again in this year, 2012. This despite bankruptcy reform in 2005. So let's go to our first poll and see what our audience knows about bankruptcy. So I am launching this poll that asks you, you can select more than one of these, the top 3 reasons that people file bankruptcy. About 40% of you have voted. I'd love for more of you to vote. I think it makes it more interesting. We're up to 70%. And I will share these with you in 1 minute. Okay, 80%. And count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If anyone else wants to vote, this would be the time to do it. Some of you are indicating that it's only allowing you to select one. That could be my fault, and if it probably is, so I apologize for that. All right, so let's see what you came up with, and I'm sorry about that. And there's some people indicating they can't vote because they're on the phone. Okay, you're only on the phone. So let me show you. I will close this, and I will share it with you so that I can indicate to you that while 27% of you thought that it was that credit card debt is one of the top 3 reasons, certainly the majority, that's wrong. The majority of you did get 44% said medical bills. It's medical bills, divorce, and job loss. Those are the top 3 reasons that people file bankruptcy. Just so you know, I included student debt, so it would give me the chance to mention that student debt is not, right now it is never included in bankruptcy. There is discussion of making some changes to the problems with student debt. And we were given bankruptcy reform in 2005 based on the belief that most people were busy buying lots of things that they had no intention of paying for, when in fact credit card debt is not one of the top 3 reasons that people cannot, that people do file bankruptcy. Okay, so we're looking at who needs financial education, who needs to be engaged in a way to create financial behavioral change. Certainly poverty does have a woman's face, and I won't expand too much on that. I will just let you take a quick look at this slide and think about who the majority of your clients are, and the fact that 800,000 more women lived in poverty in 2010 than in 2009. And so we're looking at just some of those statistics. We have student debt. We have so many problems going on. We have bankruptcy. We have foreclosure. We have many, many financial challenges existing in this country today. And these all become important challenges to client engagement, because clients living in poverty or experiencing financial problems are regrettably, more prone to increasing their debt, more distracted and irritated, often likely to experience greater stress at home and at work, and to have difficulty coping at home and in work. And financial problems do reduce the ability to think clearly and increase the potential to lie, gamble, steal, take bribes. In other words, to sabotage rather than support improving their circumstances. There are many obstacles, as I'm sure everyone on this call knows, to engage clients who have lived their lives ignoring and avoiding their money. Now, we could ask, why do people ignore and avoid their money? And I would answer that it's a lot of it is about because we don't know what to do with it. We don't know where to start. We don't know how to proceed. It can be very intimidating and overwhelming. And if that is the way you've lived your life for any period of time, it is going to be more likely that you're not interested, even though you might be the best candidate for improving your situation. I see the number one obstacle as being the fact that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And as we look at the world through that lens of financial disempowerment, as we see ourselves as unable to improve our situation or our circumstances or to create a better financial future for ourselves and our families, we are much less likely to do anything about it. If you live within that specific financial framework for generations, it's very likely that you're not going to jump at the opportunity to change it, because also you don't believe that you can change it. If you've are just familiar with this and comfortable with living within that paradigm, again, it's what you know, and it's acceptable. If you don't trust the system, it makes engaging clients more difficult, and therefore clients are often more resistant to change, less likely to follow through on what they're learning and doing, potentially practicing higher risk behavior like gambling, self-medicating, etc. You can stop and think about the clients you work with and how likely all of this is applicable to them. So looking at Surefire client engagement strategies, before we do that, I'd like to ask, and I hope I got this one right, everybody, I'd like to ask you how you would rate, okay, there's only one answer for this. Give yourself a grade on how well the agency, the organization, or the work you do does with engaging clients in your financial programs. About a quarter of you have voted. I see some questions coming in, and I will be answering those questions when we finish the slides, some really good questions. Okay, so 75% of you have voted. I'll count it down and just give you a few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 75% of you voted. And okay, a couple of you for some reason aren't able to do it on the screen, but you sent me your grades. So you can see that about, the majority of you give yourselves a B and a C. I have several C's in the question box and a B. So I'd say that's pretty good, all things considered. And I hope that you'll have more and better strategies to get yourselves up to to increase that 8% who give yourself A's. That's excellent. Okay, so I'm going to hide that poll and continue. So before beginning, I thought I would talk about creating a new or a different paradigm for client engagement that would look something like this. An environment where clients know they can talk about money openly and honestly. We know that very few people in this culture talk about money. They'll talk about sex before they talk about money. Some of that could be determined to be healthy boundaries, but most of all, we just don't talk about money. An environment where clients don't feel judged for financial mistakes or behavior. An environment focused on exciting clients with this prospect of behavioral change. And an environment where money feels like and is a safe topic. Remember, it isn't about the money, it's about the behavior. And with a behavioral approach, it can help clients to improve all areas of their lives, not just the financial component. So why create a new paradigm for client engagement? Because it is about the behavior. It is about the thoughts, feelings, and attitudes that drive our relationship with our money. And when we use that as a foundation to the programs that we offer and incorporate values that matter to clients, we do see active change, not reactive, proactive change. So here we go with 10 Surefire strategies. Strategy number 1, help clients understand, very, very important, what's in it for me. Very, very often we tend to tell clients what we think they should do, what we think they should know, but ultimately, if we allow clients to tell us what it is that will engage them, that will make them want to create change in their lives, then we do engage clients in new, different, exciting, and better ways. So help clients to understand what's in it for me is absolutely the umbrella to all of these strategies. And I called it strategy number 1. And strategy number 2, help clients understand there is always hope. We see many clients who feel very hopeless, and hopelessness slams shut that door to change. And when we bring hope into the work we do with clients, particularly to the challenges of taking control of your money and gaining control of your life, clients experience and share that hope, and they feel hopeful, and they open that door to change. So strategy number 2 is to help clients understand there is always help. Strategy number 3 is to help clients to understand why they are where they are, wherever that is, whether they're living in poverty, whether they recently lost a home, they have student debt, whatever financial challenges they're experiencing. How did you get here? If we don't know how we got there, we're not likely to understand how to get to a better place. Connecting people to their past is very, very helpful, and it's a successful way of motivating clients to understand what they need to do to get to where they want to be, wherever that is. So we connect clients to how they got where they are today, where they want to be in the future, and in some way that will incorporate being more self-sufficient. I want to be more self-sufficient. And of course, all of our webinars from this year are recorded and are on our Facebook, Financial MSW Facebook page. So you can look at those and learn from those also. And I have people tell me they go through them with their clients, or they take them and learn new tools from them. But most of all, working together with clients to understand, help the client understand where he or she wants to be in the future, allows us to work on a strategy to help the client to succeed and to partner in ways that we haven't been able to in the past. And strategy number 4 is to help clients understand that they do have a choice. My own experience is that mandating programs doesn't work as any kind of a client engagement strategy. We can get clients there, but they're usually more resistant and less engaged. And the more choices that we give clients, the more they can learn about making healthier choices and learn from choices they make that could have actually been better choices if they thought about it. So that's strategy number 4. And the how and why of strategy number 4 and about making choices is because financial problems are too often a reflection of sense of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. And when we don't feel good about, well, okay, well, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I am doing this on a new computer that is so incredibly sensitive. It just keeps skipping around. So let me get back to where we were. I apologize for this. I didn't want to risk using my laptop today. Okay, because that sometimes gives me difficulties. Webinars can be challenging. Technology, you can't live with it, without it, but sometimes you can't live with it. So too often, not feeling good about yourself does make it that much more likely that you won't make the best choices or those that are in your best interest. So strategy number 5 is one of my favorites. Help clients integrate self-assessment in their daily lives. There are many, many different tools and ways of doing this, but my experience in working with clients, particularly clients living in poverty, is the fact that once you integrate self-assessment into your life, and I call self-assessment the gift that keeps on giving, because once you have that tool and you use it, you may still make a choice that isn't in your best interest, but the difference is now you know that you didn't make the best choice, and it increases the likelihood that you'll make a better choice in the future. So look for ways in the work you do on a very regular basis to give clients the opportunity to assess their progress and identify ways to improve what they're doing. Strategy number 6, connect clients to their hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is a major way of learning from clients what it is they want and how to keep clients motivated and on track. Because while we're talking about client engagement strategies today, obviously I could do a whole nother webinar or 2 or 3 on keeping clients engaged and on track. But connecting clients to their hopes, dreams, and wishes is the way. It is certainly part of that piece of connecting clients to how and why they are where they are, and then helping them to identify where they want to be. And the clearer they are, and the more that they share with you about their hopes, dreams, and wishes, the better the work you can do together to create a success strategy and keep clients engaged and on track. Help clients understand, strategy 7, help clients understand what money means to them, what money can do, and what it can't do. This is a really valuable strategy, I think, because if you ask yourself, if I asked you to write down or did a poll with you about, what is money? What can money do? Money really is just a form of exchange. And while it's true that when we talk about money, we do talk about power, because those who have money have power and those who don't have it have less power for certain. But money is a form of exchange. It isn't good or bad. It isn't the root of all evil. It doesn't grow on trees. And we all know it can't buy happiness. It could buy health care. There are many different ways of looking at money. And the more we understand what money means to a client and what a client believes money can and can't do, the more likely we are to engage that client. And of course, money is used to get the things we need and want. And the clearer clients are on the difference between needs and wants, the more likely they are to focus on needs than wants, or to at least understand the difference. So just another slide on strategy 7 is to ask clients what money means to them. Ask yourself what it means to you. Ask yourself and ask your clients what they want their money to do for them. If we don't know the answer, then it's not likely that our money will take us where we want to go. So the clearer we are on what money represents to a client, the clearer we will be on how to help our clients navigate the money management maze and address the accuracy and the fallacies of what clients are thinking and relating to their money. So that takes us to strategy number 8, which is to help clients set personal and financial boundaries. If you stop and think about the spillover personally and financially, when we lack healthy boundaries, you can begin to see the ways that this can be abused when it comes to money. Example of healthy personal boundaries, we begin to also give clients more tools personally and professionally. And my work is about, both personal and financial growth and change. And the more people understand that they do have rights and that boundaries are positive and healthy steps, the more likely they are to take advantage of those opportunities that we're now providing or offering. So the difference between personal and financial boundaries: personal boundaries impact overall quality of life, and financial boundaries impact the dollars and cents of your life. So I have a poll on this, and let's take a look at that. So do you agree or disagree that there, the underlying question for me here is, do you think that they're very different? You think agree would be that you think they're very different. Disagree would be that you think they're the same. And I can promise you I have no research on this to base what I'm about to share with you. Okay, 54% of you have voted. A bunch of you have written that you agree that they're different, 65%, okay? So you agree that they're different. And let me close it. We're at 70%. I'll count it down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll close it. And it's interesting. I'm not sure that that was the best way to frame the question, but I believe that financial boundaries impact. You can see that you're pretty split on it, but I am by no means convinced that the question was clear enough to allow for a fair response. However, I do believe that my last two polls, hopefully I did them right, and we'll get some good responses on that. So I think that financial boundaries impact every area of our lives because they determine where we wake up, the things we do, the things we can't do, the things we have, the cars, the clothes, the education. So I think that we need personal and financial boundaries, and that by helping clients to integrate both into their lives, it will be much more likely to provide a very successful engagement strategy. So when I work with clients, I explain financial boundaries as personal financial policies. Policy is a guiding principle for interacting with the rest of the world, and in this case, from a financial perspective. And I share these particular healthy financial boundaries and then work with clients to have them create their own financial boundaries. Of course, you know, we could get into a discussion about cultural differences, and I have worked with numerous populations where it is the accepted behavior to share whatever you have, and where it is wrong to have more than others in your culture. But that would be a topic for another day. So those would be examples of healthy financial boundaries, and that was strategy number 8. Strategy number 9 is to help clients begin to recognize their financial habits and patterns. If we don't know what we're doing right or what we're not doing right, then we're not about to make changes. And so when we work with clients to help them to recognize the financial habits and patterns that they're currently exhibiting or using, and we then can have the opportunity and create the opportunity to begin to modify that behavior. And number 10 strategy is to help clients to reframe and rethink money management. In this country and in this culture, money, well, the B word, nobody likes the B word, and that's B for budget. We don't have an understanding of, you know, the value. Most of us in our own personal economies see budgets as punitive. We don't really relate them to the fact that none of our agencies universities, organizations, businesses, practices must function, with a budget of some kind, or not last, not endure, go out of business. So when clients, well, in financial social work, we call it a personal spending and savings plan. And I invite all of you to use that term and see that clients respond more positively, because we are talking about spending. It isn't associated with some of the negativity of budgets being punitive. Oh, we did something wrong, so now we need a budget. So those are your 10 strategies, and you will receive a link to the recording. I saw a lot of questions coming in about having a copy of the slides. Well, you will receive a link to the recording, and you will be able to go through it at your own pace and copy down anything that you're interested in that you may have missed as I went through the slides. And we're not finished yet. I still have at least another dozen or so slides. But when you receive that link, there will be a handout that you can print out listing all 10 of these strategies. And so my final 2 polls would be, which 2 of the following strategies, strategies 1 through 5, resonate the most for you? Which do you think would be most helpful in working with your clients? I have a different screen than you do. I can see the votes coming in. We have just 50%, and it's pretty spread across the board. I'm enjoying this. Makes all the work in creating it very worthwhile. Oh, 71% of you have voted. 73, let's go. How about we get to 80? Okay, some of you are typing it in who aren't able to click on your screens. Okay, I have 78, 79%. Anybody want to go to 80 for me? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got to 80. Well, thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. We probably did more than that because some of you had to type it in. So let me share that with you. It's interesting. The largest percentage found that helping clients understand why okay, so I believe, since I can't see all of it, I believe it's why they are where they are and where they want to be in the future. Yes, that's one of my older strategies. You know, I learned it early on, and it's very exciting to have the response and enthusiasm from clients who finally get it. And you can help them to understand, well, which of those behaviors are benefiting you and which aren't. And so you can look at that together and work together to create new, different, and better ways of handling circumstances. What's in it for me, I guess, is the second most popular, and that's huge. It really is, because when we listen to the client, instead of telling the client what we think they need or what we think they should do, it changes everything. 31%, there's always hope. Hope is so important, and it's in everything I do, so foundational. And a lot of you liked the clients have a choice, also so important. Let's go ahead and hide this one, and I will ask you to do the final poll. and I launched that. And so that's for strategies 6 through 10. And we will go through these the other 12 slides pretty quickly, and I am more than happy to stay on with anyone and everyone to answer all the questions that came in. And looks like we have a lot of questions. Oh, we have a definite winner among these 5, I would have to say. About 60% of you have voted. Okay, so I'll go ahead. We're at 70%. If you want to vote, I'm going to count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we got to 75%, 76. I'm going to go ahead and close it, and I will share it with you. So you definitely like helping clients recognize their habits and behaviors, or in patterns, or patterns and habits that they use with their money. What money is and what money isn't. I think that's really huge. I really like that one. Definitely hopes, dreams, and wishes. Okay, some of you wrote in reframe and rethink. That was number 10, and habits and patterns. Well, I thank you for participating. I really enjoyed that. I hope that you did too. And let's go ahead. That was that second poll. And so I just wanted to quickly go through 12 ways to help clients reframe and rethink money management. So reframe and rethink money management was number 10 of the strategies, but here are some tips for helping clients to reframe and rethink. By helping them to understand that spending is always about the choices you have and the choices you make, and that the choices you make today determine where you'll be tomorrow, next week, next month. When we help clients to understand about living in the present but planning for the future, it helps to expand their thinking and contributes to different choices, better choices and behaviors. And so help clients by determining what they focused on financially in the past that did or didn't work for them, and what they want and need to focus on in the future. Help clients reframe and rethink money management by making the commitment to change. That, in my opinion, is just about the number one first step in all of this. When through financial social work and our client program and all of my client work, we start with a commitment to change. We have a change model, but we start a written commitment to change, and it is printed and it is used to address lack of focus, whenever it helps clients to have a plan for coping with disappointment, unexpected expenses. So there's a tremendous amount you can do with a commitment to change. And you can help them by being clear of the difference between wants and needs, helping clients to be clear of the difference between wants and needs, and identifying those differences, and listening to clients explain what they see as different. Practice more positive thinking. This is, of course, overlaid over the fact that there is always hope. And while positive thinking can't be magical thinking, we know that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're going to be right. So thinking more positively, and we could go into visioning and collaging, creating motivational tools for clients. help clients by celebrating their willingness to learn, to grow, and to change. This is really important. Validation is something that is very often missing, either from someone who's lived in poverty for a very long time, or someone new to foreclosure or homelessness, any of the financial challenges that we're experiencing today. And so finding ways to honestly share with clients your feelings and their feelings, listen to their feelings about what they've accomplished, and help clients to feel their feelings and learn from them. There's so much that our feelings tell us and can teach us, but we often don't listen to them. So pay attention to feelings and learn from them. Understand that when you do your best, that's always good enough. We live in a culture where we're always told to do better, to do more, that we should be doing this, we should be doing that. But I know I have a slide coming up here that will carry that thought one step further. By being honest with themselves and others, self-honesty is really, really important. But being honest, and that's where boundaries, personal and financial boundaries, come into play. By understanding if you need help, ask for it. Self-acceptance, this was the slide I was looking for. By accepting themselves just as they are so that they can be open to change. My experience, my work, all has taught me that change really does begin with self-love and self-acceptance. It if we spend all of our time criticizing ourselves, thinking negatively, and feeling hopeless, it doesn't allow room for change. So help clients to accept themselves just as they are, as they work to become someone different, someone better, and to create more in their lives. And finally, change is inevitable. Progress is a choice. And it's always about progress, not perfection. There is no perfection, which is why we work with clients to help them recognize progress and be proactive in creating coping skills so they'll have them when they need them, not trying to figure them out when the need arises. So before I get to the questions, I wanted to share with all of you that our free webinar in October will have the Debt-Free, Stress-Free 2012 holiday season. It will be on Thursday, October 18th. And I hope that you'll join us then. And I will just tell you that when you leave the webinar, there will be an evaluation survey with just 2 or 3 questions on it. It really shouldn't take you more than a minute. We would appreciate your feedback. We'd like you to know that in the next few days you will receive a link to the recording, and it will have 1 or 2 handouts that you can download and print. And I just want to share with you that I told you earlier that our model is ongoing. Our behavior model is ongoing education, motivation, and support. And the education incorporates obviously our certification and our client workbooks that organizations use, but also our motivational component is on Facebook and on Twitter. And we provide, we have our free newsletter. All we need is your email on our website, and that's twice monthly. We share with you the top 10 money articles for our financial social work followers and population. So I thank you all for attending, and now I will go back to the beginning and answer the questions, and you can continue to submit additional ones. The slides question, will the slides be emailed? And they will not, but the recording will be. That's very nice. Someone shared what we're doing to improve the public and train helpers is part of God's goodness to the nation. And someone gave us the top 3 reasons. You were correct: medical bills, divorce, job loss. We had a few more divorce. Okay, a lot of you had to tell me that I did that wrong and you couldn't submit. Can we have a copy of the PowerPoint? The data points on poverty and women are great. If you wanted that slide and you emailed me, I would try to get it to you. Someone's asking me what the poverty line is now. I don't know. If anyone who's listening wants to put that into the question box, I will be happy to share it. How do we help clients face these issues without them feeling bad about themselves? We do that with this psychosocial approach. We do it by helping them understand that there's always hope. When we live hope and show hope and share hope, we open that door to having clients think differently and act differently, and we provide them with the skills and the tools and then the motivation and the support. We all need motivation and support in our lives. It may be for different reasons, but we all need it. So that's my simple and not so simple answer. No matter how we try, we can't truly see things through anyone's eyes but our own. Absolutely, that I totally agree. And that's why I said that was the #1 obstacle. However, we can help clients to make that shift by bringing them these strategies, by, you all indicated which strategies you like, and I have to guess that, I don't want to assume, I have to guess that those are approaches that you're not using and haven't used in the past. And out of the 10, I know that there have to be some, and all of this is a result of all of the work that I've done over the past 15 years. And I would love to hear from any of you who use these and see change. Okay. Recently, I was informed of the fraud triangle. People will defraud an employer when they have incentive pressure, rationalization, an opportunity. Today's financial climate is pressuring people to steal from their employers at an alarming rate. Unfortunately, that's true, as is all of the scams perpetrated, all of the people stealing our credit card data. It isn't a particularly safe world, and certainly a part of asset building is helping people be more aware of how to protect themselves. But no matter how hard we work to protect ourselves, it seems like there's always someone else working harder to defraud us, to steal from us, whether they would call it stealing or not. And none of those things feels good. Of course, identity theft, such a huge problem, a growing crime, and an unbelievable, overwhelming, really difficult challenge for anyone who experiences it. And so in a variety of the webinars we've recorded this year, I have talked about the absolute need to pull your FICO score, pull your credit scores. And in some of the online courses that I do with organizations, I've had quite a few people pull those scores to learn. One woman, her identity was stolen, and so was her husband's. She would not have known that. So we have to be proactive, and we have to know, I want to say we have to accept the reality of the times we live in, but I don't want to accept it, and I doubt that any of you want to accept it, but it is the times we live in. Someone wrote that she appreciates the great info, and would she get the presentation because she's in her car traveling. And you will get a link to the recording by the beginning of the week. Money equals power, control, freedom, and options. This is very true. Please mention strategy number 9 again. You know what? I will put those 10 strategies back up here so that you all can see them. Let's see if I can get to that. Okay. All right, there they are. So number 9 is begin to recognize financial habits and patterns. Okay, I'm trying to get back to the questions. The thought in cooperative extension is to use the term spending plan versus budget. I would obviously agree with that. Someone wrote about helping clients understand hope. Can you give some specific tools to use for integrating self-assessments into daily life? When you work with clients, the way we do it is through a number of very brief forms, but asking a client in some way, shape, or form, preferably in hard copy, I believe, what they liked best about what they learned, what they are using. Those kinds of questions begin to help someone, including everyone on the call, to ask yourself those questions. What did I like best? And I could have asked you that on my survey that you'll get when you log out of this, when I close the webinar. When we start thinking about, you know, I could ask you, what do you think, which of these, and I did that through the poll, which of these 10 strategies do you plan to use? So when you do, you know, a training, a class, whatever it is you do with the client, have the client really think about and need to answer. If it's one-on-one, it could be verbally, but if it's in a class, but even if it's not even if it is one-on-one, putting it into writing just reinforces it. And also another piece of that is asking the client to identify 2 or 3 things he or she will do differently in the coming week. So that's some real minimal goal setting, but it's quick and it's doable. And then asking in that same format if the client thinks he or she succeeded, you know, accomplished that. And if he or she didn't, then, you know, what can they do about it, or why didn't they do it? So those are some good self-assessment tools. I think we also need to incorporate, this is a question, the environment people are living in when clients are facing bankruptcy. I recommend they view Elizabeth Warren's lecture at UC Berkeley titled The Collapse of the Middle Class. I hope everybody can write that down. Elizabeth Warren's lecture at UC Berkeley titled The Collapse of the Middle Class, delivered in June 2007. Prior to the 2008 collapse, more families were filing for bankruptcy than filing for divorce. And of course, some families had to choose not to file for divorce during the collapse because they couldn't afford the divorce. If the minimum wage had kept pace with inflation, it would be more than $25 an hour. Context is key. These are wonderful suggestions and excellent points. I thank you for sharing these, Angela. Context is key. Some of the problem is the client. Some of it is how our economy has changed. Well, that's a little simplistic, I think. There are many, many reasons. And unfortunately, I think one of the major ones is the fact that we do so little, the dearth of financial education and training in this country. So do you have a form that you prefer on helping the client realize their spending habits and patterns that you would be willing to share? That I really don't. I just see that as a discussion point, a topic that can go in so many directions if we listen to the client. Thank you. Great information. Thanks, Rita. Awesome interaction. Minus a few glitches. That's true, and I apologize for them. Thank you so very much. Thank you. This is very valuable. It is possible to get a certificate for this. I'm a financial counselor requiring CEUs. I'm willing to give a certificate. It is not accredited for CEUs currently. But if you want a hard copy certificate, you can request it, and we'll give you the one CEU, and you can submit it and see if they accept it. You know of any good activities for client engagement? Whoa, I thought I just gave a whole bunch of them. I hope so. Personal and financial boundaries is an excellent point I can implement into my husband and my own life. Poverty line can be found through HEAP guidelines. You are such a great and helpful group. I appreciate you all. HEAP guidelines, everybody. And if you go there, this listener says that you can find what the poverty line is. For a family of 4, the poverty line is currently $23,050 gross annually. Well, that's a big help. Thanks. What's my email address? It's Reeta, R-E-E-T-A, at financialsocialwork.com. And I recognize who's asking that question, and I would so welcome hearing from you. Okay. Someone said the persons in family household poverty guide, one is 11,000. If there's one person in the household, it's 11,170. 2 people is 15,130. 3 is 19,090. 4 is 23,050. And it goes on. Someone said, we all make mistakes in many areas, learn, change, and move on. I apologize, but I missed the wording for strategy 10. It's up there now. Thank you for the webinar. 2012 poverty line. Okay, we pretty much just did that. Thank you. Those who need and qualify for financial assistance programs because of illness, etc., how to help them comfortably ask for help. Well, that is a challenge. And I believe that it would just be by opening the conversation. You know, obviously it's going to depend on the setting. I've done webinars and workshops and trainings for HUD providers, and I know they go into the settings mostly with the elderly. So the setting, but regardless of where the setting is, open the conversation, and you will find that there's a webinar on our Facebook page on your money story, and it is just, I find that the least intimidating, least threatening, most friendly manner of raising the topic of money, because I talk about your past money story, and then we write new chapters for your future money story. And so it just is a wonderful way, I think, of opening the topic. What do you do when a client makes progress and improves their financial situation but hits the income gap for benefits, i.e. child care due to a raise so that they have to pay? I know. I know. I've known women who have refused a raise or have left their employment to keep the daycare benefit. It's a system that doesn't reward us for hard work and effort. And I, for one, understand why people make those choices. I certainly have concerns what will happen following the election, depending on who wins, and of course the huge debt in this country. I really, you know, I dream of having, you know, the opportunity for everyone to have the, the financial information and motivation and support because I do believe that the times will be changing, and they are changing. And that's just not an easy one. And it's not one that I can quickly address right here. I'd be happy to continue that dialogue with you, but I've known people in the same situations, and it's not it's a personal decision, clearly. Do you recommend a consolidation loan? Not really, especially at a lower percent. Well, would be proactive in battling their financial strain, then work on the why are they where they are, so not to get back in the same financial shape. I have a client with very good credit, but has become overwhelmed with too many expenses. Again, that really there are a number of different strategies and techniques. You know, in this country, we really have two ends of a continuum with nothing in the middle. We have consumer credit counseling and we have bankruptcy. And we've already talked about bankruptcy reform, and consumer credit counseling isn't for everyone. I believe in both of them for the opportunities they provide to clients. I think they have to be well researched, and working with nonprofits on the consumer credit counseling end, and with a highly recommended bankruptcy attorney. But both of those strategies, or both of those, the availability in each of them, they have always experienced high recidivism, and that's because there is no behavioral component. So you make an excellent point of working on the behavioral component, because it really depends on the type of consolidation loan. Perhaps consumer credit counseling would be a better option. We really need to be very knowledgeable about how and what they're getting into, and I think that really requires us to be, you know, more knowledgeable about this. As far as with financial social work, a very overriding goal of all my work is that our graduates be helping, hopeful, healthy, positive, encouraging role models and resources, not just referral sources. But we need to have a circle of referrals that we know will do right by our clients. How do we get to strategy number 9? Well, someone had asked for a form, and I don't have a specific form for that. As I said, I think it's a dialogue. It's a way of working with clients, of talking with clients. And as far as getting to it, I think some of the preceding strategies would help you to get to it. That seems to be a popular question. You know, perhaps I will do some a webinar on it. I'll have to see. Okay. Do you feel these strategies can be used in a group? Oh, I so love group work. A psychoeducational support group using these strategies, these tools, absolutely. And the most wonderful part of that is the fact that the clients do most of the work, because they will celebrate other members. I meant to say that the members do most of the work. They will celebrate other members' successes and call out other members when they're not doing the right thing. So yes, absolutely. You can request the certificate by emailing me at Reeta, R-E-E-T-A, @financialsocialwork.com. I can't keep these questions that you've sent me. Someone did write that AFCPE has pre-approved the webinar for 1 credit hour per the AFCPE Facebook page. So if you email me at Reeta, R-E-E-T-A, @financialsocialwork.com, we will get you that certificate. Thank you, very helpful. I have them tracking. Oops, whoops, lost it. I lost that. Hold on. I have, if you look at your, very helpful, I have clients tracking their spending for 1 month. If you look at your checkbook or debit statement, you will find what is important and how and when you spend your money. A good way to see patterns. That's really excellent. Thank you, Kimberly. I just am doing that with a group of people right now. I should have remembered that. But you don't mention their cash spending. You need to track cash spending also, not just debit and checkbook and credit card. Is it okay to sign out? Absolutely. Okay. Thanks, everybody. It seems that, let's say, best, most informative, engaging webinar around this topic I've attended in the past 2 years. I'm so glad you think so. Well, I worked hard on it, and I'm so glad you all attended. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you'll join us in the future. So thanks, everybody, and have a more money-wise day. Oh, someone's still asking for my email. Reeta, R-E-E-T-A, at financialsocialwork.com. Or you can go to financialsocialwork.com, and there are a number of places where you can just click and submit that. Okay, I'm going to close this out now. Thanks, and bye.